The offseason started with a bang. The Cubs, they got Craig Counsell, the number one free agent manager, maybe the best manager, at least one of them, in the game of baseball. Cubs fans expect that maybe there's going to be some more after that. Then the Ohtani sweepstakes came up empty. Ohtani, never really interested in the Cubs. They were there. They were talking to him, but he, from the outset, was going to be a Dodger. Now what do the Cubs do? How are things progressing around the major leagues? We're going to talk about that today on the Cubs Baseball Channel. We want you to be a part of what we're doing, and it's been great hearing from you guys, not just from the United States, but all around the world. Cubs fans are national. They're also international. Go Cubs. And if you're not part of what we're doing here, like and subscribe. Let's get this thing going. What do you say, everybody? I'm Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel on the socials at Broadcaster Mick. And welcome to the week of Christmas, or the week before Christmas, however you want to look at it. Happy Hanukkah to those of you that celebrate that. And let's get started here and talk about our beloved Cubs. The Cubs starting to catch some heat from the fans. And I've read your messages, your comments, and a lot of you guys are very frustrated by the Cubs' lack of spending. So I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to start with a Jeff Passan tweet that he put out. Here are the biggest spenders this free agent season. Now, the Dodgers obviously dwarf everyone else. They signed Ohtani, and they've spent over $700 million. The Phillies have gone out. They've improved their team. How about the Diamondbacks trying to build off of a team that got close to the World Series? Of course, the Giants with their big deal earlier this week. Kansas City making some noise. The Cardinals have went out and gotten a lot of pitching. Candelario, one of the moves that the Reds have made. You got the Tigers adding some arms, including Flannery. The Braves have made some moves. They got some pitching. The Rangers, who got to the World Series last year with some moves. Even the White Sox adding a little bit of a payroll. Baltimore got a closer. Scroll down, though. Then there's the Pirates. Then there's the A's. Then there's the Red Sox. And then there's a group of teams here at the bottom that haven't done anything. Blue Jays, Cubs, Mariners, Marlins, Padres, Rockies, Twins, Yankees. So the reason I wanted to pull that up is because I know a lot of you guys have kind of talked about this. When are the Cubs going to make some moves? Now, the Yankees didn't sign anyone yet in free agency. They're in the Yamamoto sweepstakes, but they did make a huge blockbuster trade to get Juan Soto from Philadelphia. So it's not the same on the list. The Padres hemorrhaging money last year, payroll. They're trying to dump as many guys as they can, rebuild their farm system. So, I mean, now you're looking at the Cubs and Toronto. The Blue Jays are in that same spot as the Cubs. You're hearing their name a lot, but they haven't been able to pull anything off. And, and then some other teams like the Rockies and the Twins and the Marlins. You're talking about some of the small market teams. And I think one of the frustrating parts of this offseason to Cubs fans so far is that they want to be a big spender, and they look at the success that the Cubs had winning and how Theo Epstein sort of built the franchise, did it with the obviously with the draft, and he was allowed to lose tank basically for 3 or 4 years, and then made trades off of that, and then got draft picks and made the best of it, won a World Series. It's a different situation now. The Cubs didn't tank. Last year, they went all in, and it cost them some players, and they didn't make the playoffs. You guys know that. So what's going on now? Well, first off, I think that the Cubs are trying to make smart decisions. As frustrating as it is for us who want to see them make some deals, and watching some of the names come off the board as far as free agents, but you got to be patient. They're dealing with Scott Boras, who is not just the agent for Cody Bellinger, but he's also the agent for Blake Snell and some of the other guys that you want in the free agent game. And what are his tactics and techniques? Well, he's going to wait as long as he can to get the best deal. So that may be, all the way into March before you get a deal done. And the tough part about that is you could go out and offer Bellinger a great deal today, and he's still going to wait. He's still going to want to go out and see what he can get from the next guy and from the next guy and from the next guy. It's not making a deal that's great for everyone. It's making a deal that's great for his clients, and some people say, hey, that makes him the best agent in baseball. Some people say, if it's not a deal that both sides feel comfortable with, then it's not a great deal for both sides. Then that doesn't make it a great deal, right? At the end of the day, you got to be patient and you got to expect that it's going to be a long road to get those guys that you want if he's their agent, right? So that's what I wanted to say today. Just it's as frustrating as it is, the Cubs still have this farm system that is really loaded right now. And to sustain long-term success, they have to do both, sign free agents and then obviously take advantage of the talent that they have in their system and get those guys to the major leagues. And I think we've kind of had this discussion, and from the comments that you guys leave, you're all really smart, even if we all don't agree on the direction for, every single player. I think we all kind of have the same goal in mind, right? But for the Cubs, they've got to be patient. If you go and sign Chapman to play third, you're blocking that position. I don't know how many of you guys have left me messages about having Ian Happ signed long-term in left field, because you kind of feel like that would be a spot where you would rather have some younger talent and have him out of there somewhere else, traded or with another team, right? Some of you guys love him. And I'll get, 5-6 comments say, hey, Ian Happ's great. And then I'll get like 15 that say, hey, I would love to see that spot be open for Alexander Canario, or, could you put Cody Bellinger there and Pete Crow Armstrong in center? Or what are you going to do with Kevin Alcantara, the Jaguar? Or what are you going to do with Owen Casey? And, start to look around and move these outfield pieces. It's the same thing with the infield. I feel like, though, that the Cubs don't have an option right now not to sign starting pitching. So, and the reason why is that I don't look at the depth in the system and think that Hayden Wesneski and Ben Brown, as good as their potential is, are going to step in this year at the beginning of the season and make an impact, right? What about Caleb Killian? It seems like you get a lot of these guys, they have success in AAA, and then they get to the big leagues and they have a tough time transitioning. And that's just the way that baseball is right now. And I think that's one of the reasons why Craig Counsell has taken over as the Cubs manager. He's going to try to help to get those guys in. I heard Carter Hawkins talking about all of the potential that the Cubs have right now in their farm system, and I agree with him. You don't exactly know who's going to be the player or players that are going to step up, but the good thing is there are a lot of guys that have that potential that could do it. Who's going to transition? If it's not Canario, is it, Hollywood Pete Crow Armstrong, right? If it's not him, is it Alcantara? Is it Owen Casey? Like the fact that there are guys that you can kind of keep finding until the right guy steps in is a really good thing for the Cubs, whose farm system in a lot of publications is top 5. I've seen it up behind Baltimore's and some as number 2. So that's part of this. But with that said, let me put this back on again. Eventually, that number 0 is going to change. They're going to sign a starting pitcher. They're going to sign some bullpen guys. I think that they're going to sign Cody Bellinger. I'm pretty confident in that. Now, a lot can change. You're obviously dealing, as we talked about before, with Scott Boras, and his job is to try to get as much money as possible. Some of you guys feel like he's going to end up in Toronto. To me, if I'm a ball player, I would not want to go to Toronto. I'd want to stay right in the United States. If I'm from Arizona. Why wouldn't I want to play for a team that has a spring training facility that's near my house and that's in one of the best markets in the country? If you're not going to play in LA where he was before, or you're not going to play for the Diamondbacks, why not just stay and play for the Cubs? A lot of the contenders for his services are gone now, or at least you would expect that. The Giants just signed a center fielder. The Yankees made a trade for an outfielder and Soto. So if it comes down to the Cubs in Toronto, I'm sure there's going to be some other teams in there. But, once you step on the field at Wrigley and you get a feel of the community and what it means to play for the Cubs, I think that it would be really tough to go somewhere else. And maybe that's just our blind loyalty to the Cubs. But that's kind of how things feel right now. It's going to be a great week. We'll be covering things. If anything breaks, we'll have it for you. Keep the comments coming in. I heard a lot of you guys talk about Sammy Sosa. I feel like it's 80-20 right now. 80% of you guys feel like Sammy Sosa, should be in the Cubs Hall of Fame. Would be great to have him around. 20% of you people feel like, hey, you know what? He deserves what happened to him. He cheated. We don't want him back. I think that if he ever did come back and addressed everyone and kind of took ownership of it, or, told you guys and me and all of us how he felt about the Cubs, I think that a lot of that would change. I think that you would still have, 5% or whatever that will never accept him back. But I think that the fact that McGuire and Bonds and a lot of these other guys that were steroids era guys have been accepted into their team's Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame or whatever. I just feel like that the Cubs would want to have the guy that is their all-time home run leader in that same capacity. So, but anyway, look, we're moving on from that. And thank you for, commenting and being a part of the channel. Hey, let me tell you guys a couple things too. First off, we're presented by Modern Lending and our friend Chad Anderson, helping families get into homes. Over $2 billion worth of money sent out by Modern Lending and Chad Anderson's career. He's an investment consultant and an Airbnb expert. You know him from the channel. That's This Chat is Real on socials. And free shipping right now for the Tennessee Smokies at their team store. That's where I got this. Gave me this. And you can get one too. It's fairly comfortable, on top of the fact that it's got this cool championship logo. 45 years it took them to win that. But if you're a fan of memorabilia, you got a lot of autographed items, whether it's balls or jerseys, baseball cards. They have their own baseball card store there called Collector's Corner with a bunch of autographs of guys, some of the top prospects in the Cubs system. So check it out for yourself. That is smokiesbaseball.com/store. Talk to you guys again soon. Go Cubs.